Hey there. I just tried to record this before, but I'm pretty sure my mics weren't on. They're on now. Allegedly. Anyway, I wanted to talk because it's been a minute and I've been so sick. It's insane. And so with being sick and not really having the energy to do anything, YouTube has been real big. And I fell into this rabbit hole of like decluttering videos and like meal prep and essentially like a bunch of get your life together videos. And I'm usually pretty immune to that, which isn't really something to brag about, I guess. But I've known about like, I was there when the life changing magic of tidying up burst onto the scene and all that. And so I'm pretty familiar with a bunch of those concepts, but still, I just found myself kind of eating it up. Not really. I just kind of played it in my brain dead, half conscious capacity. It's like, okay. What was interesting to me though was whether it be because I was watching those videos or what, through no real power of my own, I ended up doing my laundry for the first time in forever. Now, I don't have any sort of diagnosis or anything to back this up with, but I will say that um, laundry transcends the physical realm for me in terms of being a demon that I have to fight. There's something where, like, I would literally rather do anything except for do the dishes by hand. I will not do that. But like, oh, I hate laundry so much. And so while I've been sick, I was able to do the laundry and it was like no problem. And I mean all of it. And even go through and like pick some stuff out that I don't like anymore. And yeah, declutter. And I think part of it was influenced by those videos, which maybe there's a conversation to be said for how much the media we consume does influence us. But most of the time when I watch those videos, I feel discouraged and like, oh, well, I'm not going to make it to that point. So I'm not going to stress too hard about anything they're saying. Look, between you, me, and the fence post, the moment you tell me that the plan or like your key to making your decluttering journey, your no buy month, year, whatever, and even the stretching video at some point. If at any point you pull out a pen and paper and you're like, write down your why, you have lost me. I'm done. I am not going to do that. As a stationery fiend, I love uh, pens, like any stationery material. I love new books. I love all of that. But if you're asking me to write something down in a journal, it is simply not going to happen. Like the closest I've ever gotten to being good at that was um is when Inktober comes around every year and they have a different prompt for each day of October and you can draw something. The furthest I've ever made it has been like day 8, maybe. And that wasn't all in a row. I still forgot one. So that's just not going to work for me. And then I came across a video talking about this book called Goodbye Things. And it got me thinking about, with how many books I've read, how interconnected like everything is. in the sense that this book is kind of a more complicated, and complicated is not the right word, a more thorough explanation of kind of the principles presented by Marie Kondo in her life-changing magic of tidying up. And if you've never read that book before, it can be a little on the nose. Like, she's not wrong about anything, but you almost feel like you have to take it with a grain of salt. You're like, whoa, girl, calm down. Like, are you sure someone cleaned up their apartment and then decided they needed a divorce? Like, are you really taking credit for that? But honestly, it does make sense. It's just if you've never read the book before, she makes some bold claims up front that without any sort of explanation, for me, I was calling bullshit like almost instantly. But her stuff does work. I've just never been able to get through it all, like, ever. But anytime I do make any sort of attempt at, keeping only the things that spark joy and then adding an addendum with things that are also required to be a human being, um, things do feel nicer. They do feel cleaner. So this Goodbye Things book was being talked about by a woman who runs the YouTube channel Don't Be a Lemon. Incredible. And there were some same principles as Marie Kondo's, but they go on to describe it and talk about it in a way that's so much more relatable that I can understand why this book works for people also. But it also got me thinking about, if you don't need all the extra, if it could just boil down to do this and you'll know if you need a divorce or not. It really is that simple. It's just sometimes you need further context. And it got me thinking about the book, The Courage to Be Disliked, which is another one that says some bold, like makes some bold claims that essentially boil down to be true. But when you first hear them, you kind of want to be like, no. Like the book literally says at one point, I say literally, but I'm not quoting here. And I might be closer than I think. But essentially the book at one point says trauma doesn't exist. You're just choosing that. And you're like, hold up. Wait a minute. Uh and that is a true thing. But you're gonna need to explain a little bit about how, because like in the book it's straight up like, just let go. And it's like, yeah, that's simple, but it's not that easy. And I think Marie Kondo's method to tidying up is so similar to the Courage to Be Dislikes method of dealing with your mental health, of just get rid of that shit. Like, if it doesn't make you happy, just let it go. And you're like, what do you mean? My generational traumas or complex trauma or like all these things I've gone through are things that I like that have plagued me my entire life. You're telling me I could just poof into the ether? Like, haha, you're hilarious. But actually, kinda, yeah. And so it just made me think about how many books are written for a target audience in a specific lane of help that are saying exactly the same thing as like other books, and how much more streamlined would it be if we could like collect all of these ideas and boil them down to their most fundamental principles and just apply that to everything, right? So I've read a few finance books as well. The most prominent in my mind being Your Money or Your Life, which boils down to the idea that your time is finite and it's really the only resource you have. And to think about your purchases not in the concept of dollars, but by doing the math that they walk you through, determining how much your real hourly wage is and how much things are going to cost you in hours of your life thereafter, which is something, being a kid raised in abject poverty, is something I tended to do naturally. um, but like, your time is limited and your only resource. Is that what it all boils down to? I wonder. Because you do that with finances and you're like, oh, I don't want to spend my money on that because it takes me this long to make that much money and I'm not dealing with that. And then you can like kind of skip over to like the no buy or finance. Well, I guess no buy, that's closer related, but like it's related to clutter too, like, well, don't waste you only have a limited amount of time and it's your only resource. Don't be spending it literally and figuratively. Don't be spending your time, your money, whatever, on things you don't need. And then you bump that another, like, over to another kind of self help category. And it's like your time is limited and your only resource. Get rid of things that are wasting it. Did I did I figure it out? Did we just figure this out? Did I just need to talk to you? Cuz it really felt like all of them were saying the same thing. And I think that's what it boils down to, all of it. Your time is a finite and your singular resource. That is all you have. That is your only bargaining chip. And I think when you live in like a real capitalist society, finances will naturally affect every area of your life because you're mostly buying things. And so if you can get that in check, you're doing pretty good. Um, but yeah, I think I just answered my own question, huh? Or you helped me answer it. Mm. But anyway, I also thought it was just weird that I was really sick. I'm still pretty awful, but that it was so much easier to do a thing that I typically hate, cannot stand, will not do. Is it because I was just so exhausted? I'm like, I cannot possibly feel worse, so I may as well just do this too. I have no idea. Like just double dip in the misery of like, I feel terrible. I should do all the house chores that I hate doing because nothing's going to be enjoyable anyway. I wonder if that wasn't the answer. But anyway, I know it's been a minute. I'm still playing around with the music stuff. Um, Trying to be more creative, but with work ticking back up, it's just hard. It's hard to make space for those things. So I'm thinking about trying to figure it really just boils down to, oh my God, it just boils down to your time is limited and your only resource. And so there have been moments where I've just went ahead and like started it or picked it up and started doing something and it led to one thing or the other. But um yeah, so I'm working on all those things. I'm not quite sure how to share those with you. or if you're interested in that, I have no idea. Um, but my one little edited video is cute, but I think in order to keep me honest, I need to just talk to you and toss them up there and let the thumbnail be whatever the thumbnail is. I liked drawing them as well, but they're pretty terrible. So I'm like, do I want to invest my time into being way better at that? Maybe not right now. Maybe just talking to you is enough. Anyway, um, this I saw that 15-minute marker just come and go, and I was gonna try and keep it under that, but you know me. Um, anyway, I'll try to keep in touch a little bit better. I want to do that for me. It's been a little too long, but it is just crazy how you're like, when being creative is your act of resistance against the norm, how easily the norm just takes back over once it's it's kind of wild. But anyway, um I'm thinking of what to share next with y'all. I don't know what conversations to have. I wasn't going to have this conversation except for the fact that I recently cleaned like one little shelf, which is where I put my camera stuff. It was getting a little crazy. And I was like, oh, I'm 3 feet away from the mic. I could just do it right now. So, like, decluttering, cleaning, making the things you care about be easier to access and take less time to do means spending more time, of which is a limited resource, doing what you actually want to do. There's an idea. But anyway, this has gone on long enough. I'm sure you don't want to continue to listen to me struggle to breathe. So, yeah, I'm glad we had this talk now. I really got something out of it. So, I appreciate you. And I hope you're taking care of yourself. And I hope you don't get whatever this is because, oh my God, it sucks. And on that note, take care of yourself, and I'll see you.